gentlemen, namaste. We are Facebook Live right now, and most of our guests for today are here. We just got an apology from Bias ji. He's got really sick, and we hope that he recovers fast, and we'll have him in some other session. So, namaste. I am Daksh. I'm the founder of Blub World magazine, and today we are here as a part of a research activity that Blub has been doing since the lockdown began. And I'm very happy to welcome all our esteemed guests to the Blub World Web Talks 67th episode. In the last 66 episodes, more than 800 school leaders have participated on this platform, shared their innovations, ideas, and perceptions and experiences and even visions on how is education changing or how is education actually going to look like in the coming times. And out of those people, out of those ideas and opinions, we have actually selected around 100 ideas, which we have showcased on our all social media platforms in the magazine that's open for people to experiment. To initiate this talk, I would just like to say one very small thing, which typically sets the context for this kind of a platform and the reason why we are here to talk about is tech really teaching. In history, if you actually look at, ऐसा बहुत कम बार होता है when the society and the people around you are actually ready to listen to you, are ready to experiment, are ready to understand a new way of living. Because whenever we face a big challenge as a society, we are ready to revamp ourselves. And we are in a very similar time. So this is the point of time when we should actually experiment. If any educationist had any idea ever, this is the time to experiment because the whole world right now has become a big laboratory for the education experts. And I think we should not miss this time because we hope that this never comes again. But इस समय पे जो documentation, observations and ideas, जितने चीजों को हम document कर लेंगे, that would actually become the basis for innovation in the coming times. Because we as educationists just got a new duty towards the society, which is to create the knowledge bank that the world would need in the coming times. I hope we are ready to actually deliver on those expectations towards the society and from the educationists that are here on this very platform. So thank you so much, everybody, for taking out the time and being here with us on the Blub World Web Talk 67th edition and to talk about, is tech really teaching? Abhi tak, after talking to nearly 800 school leaders, what we could understand was very simple. India mein typically EdTech jab implement ho raha hai, so it is not actually solving education issues. It is solving communication issues. Kyunki sabse major aur sabse bada platform which is facilitating education is WhatsApp, which is not supposed to be an EdTech company. And a lot of EdTech companies are just taking care of a virtual classroom. Content, curriculum, pedagogy, ये सारे शब्द जो terminology में थे वो अब असल दुनिया में आ गए हैं. And for educationists, it's becoming a big difficulty to actually, mull around with these and find a solution. Just some days back, we had a behavioral scientist on this very platform who shared an amazing, research finding that the typical attention span of a student or a human being who is listening to a virtual class is only 8 seconds. So on every 9th second, you have actually lost him. So if you want to keep him engaged, I think only education or the kind of lecture delivery or lecture mode of teaching won't work. So let's find out what our speakers for today have to put through to you. So first, education se ek bahut badi expectation hoti hai employability. So let's first understand that is tech really teaching in schools? And then a small little tadka or a perspective on how does an HR see the world of education in the coming times. I give a very warm welcome to Mr. Harjeet Khanduja, Vice President, Human Resources Reliance Jio from Mumbai. Harjeet ji, over to you.
Thank you, Daksh. In fact, whatever I was thinking I am going to speak about, you have already finished all that material. And I literally like your energy, the energy you are coming up with. So let me start with, is tech really teaching? When I heard this whole thing, so one thing which came to my mind was, is fan really giving cool air? Or is gas really cooking? Is washing machine really washing clothes? Or is computer really computing? thing is, all these pieces of technology which we are talking about, they don't do anything on their own. You actually need somebody who wants to extract some purpose out of it. If we are not doing that, if there is no human behind, then technology is of no use. Say, if we talk from, say, HR perspective, so one thing which comes to my mind is, who am I going to hire? The clear answer is anyone who wants to work, I would like to hire. Second is, anyone who knows how to work, I would love to hire. And if you say, like, if the person can learn and work, or if the person can learn to work, that is a bonus. And if the person can lead the work, awesome. So our perspective is not, it is not that there are too many things which are required. These are the basics which are required. If you see how tech is coming in this whole place is, since beginning, there were gurus who were teaching. And then there were people like Eklavya who did not know how to go for a formal education. So what they used to do was they used to practice. And then somebody started writing books. Why started writing books? So that people can learn on their own. Now, point is, there are many people who can learn from teachers, but there are many people who want to learn on their own. They love to read books, but not everyone can read books. So what they started doing was they started making videos of books, or they started making movies of books. Now, when we see it in this context, since beginning, we have seen videos or movies as form of entertainment. And self-learning, we have not given too much importance in terms of esteem. If you say, I have done a full-time MBA, everyone will be after you, oh, you are a good talent. But if you say, I have done something from IGNOU, where you have to study yourself, then do you get similar importance which a full-time MBA gets? Maybe not. This is a stigma which we have associated, our society has associated with self-learning and open programs. And that stigma is still flowing. So when technology has come in as a self-learning platform, we are still thinking, will Coursera work? Will LinkedIn Learning work? Are they worth it? Can person learn on his own and we will give the same value to the person who is learning on his own? These are question marks which all of us need to answer. It is not about whether the person is learning. He was talking about a span of 8 seconds. I listened to Daksh for more than 8 seconds and I did not lose my span of control. And I was able to clearly hear and understand what he was communicating. It can be because Daksh is a good student, Daksh is a good teacher. Or maybe I am a good student, I have a better concentration. Or maybe I have interest in what he is talking about. Look, this whole thing is about interest. And if interest is there, then I believe miracles can happen. When we put students in the class and we say, study, actually, whether they want to study or not, are we checking that? Right now, there are so many fields in which students can excel. Finding out which person is interested in what and making sure that whatever the person wants to study or whatever the person is interested in, the person is studying that, then this concentration problem with technology will not be a problem. And this is what I think. Daksh, you can take the discussion forward.
Thank you, Harjeet ji. And actually, आपने सही कहा कि if the washing machine is washing clothes or not, is the TV actually working or is the fan actually giving us the right air or not? Absolutely, tech is supposed to be a tool, but the way technology is, right now growing and evolving, I think humans are now becoming a tool to technology. Just some days back, the founder of Next Education was supposed to be on this platform. He shared a very nice, statement from the EdTech business part of it, that if you are not paying for the technology that you're using, then you are the product. So always remember that while you're using technology, tech is also using you. To again summarize what Harjeet ji said, that pieces of tech is only a tool, only a human can drive technology, and most importantly, the way hiring works or the way an HR actually sees talent is he should want to work and must know to work. Learning and leading is a bonus if that happens. And from Eklavya's self-learning to learning from tools like books and technology and videos, and finally to a personalized learning experience, that's the journey that we have actually seen. And अब हम personalized learning वाले phase में हैं. Studying yourself or even distant learning has a stigma. अब उसकी rebranding या brand positioning की वापस से जरूरत है, because ये बात सही है कि जो talent उसमें से तैयार होके आ रहा होता है वो खराब है अच्छा, इसके ऊपर तो डिस्कशन जाता ही नहीं, उसकी पोजीशनिंग की वजह से ही व्यक्ति रिजेक्ट हो जाता है. So this is something that we need to actually think on. Interest is the driving force, and finding an active learner कि जो आप पढ़ा रहे हैं वो पढ़ने के लिए तैयार है क्या, is he mentally ready, या हमें ये सिखाना शुरू होना होगा कि how to become an active learner or how to find the right place where you need to put your mind and time, and checking whether a child really wants to study and what does he want to study. So personalized learning, thinking more on the lines of individualistic approach towards mass teaching. इंडिया इतनी बड़ी पॉपुलेशन है, उसको इतनी मास में पढ़ाना बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज था. उसके लिए हमने एक मास टीचिंग का सोल्यूशन ढूंढा, अब वो सोल्यूशन काम नहीं करता. So when it does not work, so let's see how does a higher education professional look at it and how do they think that it should change. Is to हमें पता है. Let's find out what the ought is or the vision is in the coming times for changing education. A very warm welcome to Ms. Rajita Kulkarni, President Sri Sri University, Cuttack, Odisha, and President of the World Forum for Ethics in Business. Rajita ma'am, over to you.
Thanks, Daksh. That was very well, consolidated and rescripted. And Harjeet ji very, very well said about, really taking us back to the roots. In fact, the building which you can see behind me is one of our main academic blocks in Sri Sri University. It is named Shruti. So in our texts, it is said Shruti Smriti Purananam. So learning by listening and learning by memory. So you brought back the discussion of Gurukul and Eklavya, who not only learned by listening and memory, but without even seeing. So that is very true. I want to place before everybody 5 big ideas, which I think we as educators ought to, some of us are already and must keep in mind as we prepare the students for their future and for the industry as the input for you, Harjeet ji. So first is, there is a lot of research today which is talking about how many careers will an individual land up having in his lifetime. Of course, the pandemic has compelled us to rethink about lifespans, but otherwise, the overall medical science is going to increase lifespans to an extent that an average human being will land up having 6 careers in his lifetime. So the time that when we said, I graduated with this degree when I was 21 and it will last me till I am 80, I think that time is gone. So the first important consideration for all of us as educators are how are we ensuring lifelong learning for students? How are we ensuring that we are creating an ecosystem of lifelong learning for our stakeholders? So that's my first point. I'll come to the tech part of it, but this is my first point. So 6 careers in a lifetime, lifelong learning. I consider myself an example. I am on my 2nd career. I am trained in finance, strategy, banking, and marketing. I was a banker for 20 years with Citibank, and now I'm in education. So I had to teach myself the fundamentals and then, you know, be part of this new career for myself. So I'm on my second career. So that's the first point, 6 careers. The second point is, as technology is becoming embedded in every aspect of our life, I believe that everything that is reproducible, everything that is automatable will definitely be for economies and for speed and for other re-engineering benefits. Therefore, what skills will be required? Harjeet ji, you said it very beautifully. Are you able to learn? Are you willing to learn? And then are you willing to lead? That is like a cherry on the cake for you. So what are the skills that are really sought out of our students when they pass out of their degrees? Of course, they need to have their subject matter expertise, but I think that is not what is making them succeed. What is making them succeed is the ability to communicate. Just yesterday, I read a research report which said that a coder in Silicon Valley with only coding skills can earn about $40,000 to $80,000 starting salary. But those with also skills of public speaking, communication, can earn up to $120,000. So skills like communication, skills like empathy, skills like symphony, skills of storytelling, these are skills yet that cannot be mechanized, I feel. You know, I don't know if anyone has been able to create a robot which can empathize, create a robot which can tell a story. So there are a huge number of right brain skills which still need to become focus areas in education, because those will become differentiators. You know, I'm in another hat, a transformational leadership coach. I have worked with leaders from over 50 countries, and any leader you ask, and you know, you are here, Dr. Surisetti, Harjeet ji, others are leaders here. If I ask you what is a successful leader, you will not say the person who has 5 PhDs or 2 masters. You will say a person who has a vision, a person who is able to listen, a person who is able to inspire. And those skills are not yet in the curriculum, so to say, quote unquote. So second is right brain skills, essential skills. I call them fundamental skills that will be required out of our students. The third is, the pandemic is showing us, even otherwise in these days, disruption is the norm. Airbnb disrupted the hotel industry, Oyo disrupted hotel industry, Uber disrupted the way we traveled, Ola did the same. Disruption is the norm. Now, disruption needs a certain mindset. You know, in our Shastras, it is the Shiva energy. Brahma creates, Vishnu maintains, and Shiva is the disruptor and recreator. Now, that is a special skill. How can we help our students have that energy and the skill to not only create, but also know when to disrupt, because disruption is the norm, and disruption is a characteristic of an evolving humanity. So disruption is the norm, and how are we training our students for that? Number 4, the pandemic has made us permanently into a brick and portal model. I think the brick and mortar, like this beautiful building you can see behind me, I miss it. I haven't been there since the time of the lockdown, because I am locked down in Mumbai. But that physical infrastructure is not disallowing me to conduct my business, or neither is it disallowing our students to learn. You know, in Odisha, the chief minister of Odisha announced shutdown of educational institutions 10 days before the national lockdown. And within 5 days after that, we went, as Sri Sri University, we went 100% online. All programs, all courses, including clinic courses, lab courses, studio courses, everything, architecture, osteopathy, computer science, physics, everything, we were able to go online. Now, that will become the norm. I think the pandemic has propelled us 100 steps ahead. We may come 10 steps behind, but we will never go 100 steps behind. So how are we as educators going to be able to use the brick and portal model? You know, today we are not defined by a geography. We are defined by the Zoom link that we are using. So it has made us into a flat world. And, you know, you can see what is happening in the US with visa norms for students. The world is going to become more flat and more brick and mortar for education. So that's my 4th point. And my 5th point is that AI is going to become a team member and should not become our competitor. I think anyone who has a mindset which says that artificial intelligence, robotics, Internet of Things is competing with me, I think is doing disservice to ourselves. We have to think of how we can leverage AI as a member of our team to re-engineer ourselves, to accelerate our own, innovation, to put ourselves ahead of our competition. And that also needs a certain mindset. So what I would like to say is that these are the 4-5 big points that will become the asks of the world from our students. I think it is already the asks of industry. When I get letters from our recruiters, in fact, our placement head, Mr. Ravi Prakash, is on this line. He's meeting Harjeet ji, seniors like you from HR of the industry the whole time, every day. And every day he is funneling back to our MBA team, to our bachelor's faculty members, the demands from HR heads like yourselves. And this is what we are hearing, and this is our insight also. So in Sri Sri University, in fact, there are 3 or 4 big things I think I would like to quickly say that we are doing. Number one, we are equipping our students. Academic excellence is a given in any educational institution. Technology is a mechanism to deliver that. Human classrooms are a mechanism to do that. Project work is a mechanism to do that. But what they get is the basis. It's the fundamental, it's the foundation. But we don't want to be happy only with that. For our students, service is an important aspect of their curriculum. We come from the parentage of the Art of Living Foundation, founded by Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji. Service is our DNA. So every student in Sri Sri University has to have at least some project. We are also surrounded by about 80-90 villages. At least one project that he does in the villages. This makes him sensitive, makes a student sensitive to the demands and the needs of stakeholders. Today, Harjeet ji, you will agree, you are not an island by yourself. You are as good as the satisfaction of all your stakeholders, and your community is a big stakeholder for you. Environment is a big stakeholder for you. So we want to create our students to be sensitive to who are the stakeholders, how big is the stakeholding community, and how we can respond to the needs of the stakeholders. So service, Seva projects is a big part. Incredible stories come out of it, of how students' personalities and characters get shaped because of it. So this is one thing we are putting focus on. The second thing we are putting focus on, and we are experiencing this today in the pandemic, our ability to deal with our mind, our ability to deal with our emotions, and our ability to manage ourselves, I think is a critical aspect of our own success as an individual. If I am so emotionally turbulent, if I am so emotionally volatile, if I succumb to stress, how good am I to my team? How good am I to the organization I belong to? So our students learn tools and techniques of resilience, of mind management. They meditate every day. Even now, when we are online, we all do, including me, we do group sadhana every morning, 6 to 7:30. Surya Namaskar, meditation, Sudarshan Kriya, really, and it makes you solid, it makes you resilient, it creates strength of spirit, and somewhere it makes your personality shine. It also sharpens the intellect, it sharpens your expression, it sharpens your perception. This is a critical skill. These are critical skills we are building in our students, and we are even seeing the results of it. In fact, I get so many letters from recruiters who say that some of your students may not be cats academically, but they have an ability to get things done. They have the enthusiasm, that yes, can do attitude. So I think that is something, because today in the world, those who are agile can survive. And I think these skills are necessary to build awareness and agility in you. So that's the second part. And the third part, I think, which we are training our students, and also I think technology is a big contributor to it, is the ability to stay ahead. I call it the logging in 15 minutes before time ability. You know, we are all joining conference calls today. Dr. Surisetti, yourself, myself, and Harjeet ji, I can say safely, were the first 3 people who logged in to this call at 4:40. We were logged in for a 5 o'clock call. Now that shows, I think, some sort of proactive preparedness. You know, I believe, Dr. Surisetti, that the world is in a hurry to catch up. And when you're in a catch-up mode, you know, you can never express the full potential of your characteristics or your skills. But if you're a little ahead of time, I think it allows you some mind space to be prepared to handle the situation that you are facing. And this is a skill we are building in our students by pounding them with extraordinary amount of, I think work projects, lateral thinking projects, exceptional situation projects, where students learn to stay ahead of time. You know, it's also a challenge with this generation. Everybody is in a catch-up mode. 5 baje ka kaam hai to 4:59.99 seconds pe people land up. This is a generational thing. And I think we have to somewhere, I can see some school leaders are nodding. So we have to create that, because that is what enables students to be part of corporate teams who are trying to be ahead of the game. You know, if you cannot be personally ahead of the game, how are you going to make your business be ahead of the game? So these are few things we are doing. I'm very proud of our teams, which are always coming up with very, very lateral ways of therefore creating these skills in our students. And in these days, you know, technology is a given, whether we want it or we don't want it, whether we like it or we don't like it. You know, today, if it was not for technology, we all wouldn't be talking. So I think it is time for us to embrace it and to see how we can use it to our advantage, how we can make it our friend. As I said, like AI is a team member, technology today is a team member. You know, we have to recraft our approaches, including technology. In fact, I want to say that since we have moved classes online, and you know, I'm also on the trust of Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Vidya Mandir. We run over 100 schools in India, about 45,000 students. Whether it is in our schools or even in our university, attendance has increased online. You know, I'm getting 85% attendance every day, which never happened, even in the physical classroom situation. Assignments are being finished more on time. The teachers are saying there is more engagement. So Harjeet ji, I agree with you. You know, I don't know where is this 8-second thing. I am also conducting a lot of classes myself, because, you know, I want to feel what is going on. And I find incredible attendance, incredible engagement. I think as an education community, we have really embraced this pandemic. Our teachers are really salute worthy. All over the country, all over the world, just like the medical workers are responding. I think our teachers have done an exemplary job in, being available. So I would say embrace technology. I would say, make it your friend, and see what best it can give you to achieve your goals. These are my few initial remarks, Darsh.
Thank you so much, Rajita ma'am. To summarize what ma'am said, she started from the Shruti, Smriti and Purana naam. That सबसे पहले सुन के सीख लें, then memory से सीख लें. अगर उसके बाद भी बच जाए तो let text take care of it, and you should actually look towards text to actually understand it. With life expectancies increasing, we'll need 6 careers in a lifetime, and to handle 6 careers, हमें active नहीं, super active learner चाहिए. And उसकी जो foundation है, that has to be laid in the school. क्योंकि अभी हम content delivery and lecture mode पे अटके हुए हैं. We need to find new ways of engaging and actually building that foundation. And ma'am herself is in her second professional persona at the moment, from being a banker to an educationist and reinventing herself. Skills that are really sought from students is communication is typically, if I talk in technology terms, then there's something called DNS, जो extra server लगाया जाता है servers के ऊपर, so that the content delivery happens fast. तो ये आपकी packaging है. If the communication skills come in, आपका pay package अपने आप ऊपर चला जाता है. And that's a lot. That's something that's observed everywhere across industries. And right brain skills should now become the priority. That's for sure, because अभी हर skill जो हम सीख रहे हैं या हम पढ़ रहे हैं या हम पढ़ा रहे हैं has to be tested on a new barometer. That if tech can do it, don't teach it. If tech cannot do it, only then teach it. Because अगर वो redundant हुआ और उसे tech कर पाएगा तो थोड़े समय में वो job ही नहीं रहेगा and जिंदगी के लिए support नहीं रहेगा and employability नहीं रहेगी. Disruption being the new norm, the Shiva energy coming in, we should understand कि जो दुनिया में establish हो गया है उसको कभी खत्म भी करना है, not violently but with a new version of it or a disruption that is digestible. बहुत सारे startups, if you actually look at the startup community, वो startups इतने disruptive होते हैं, they are quite ahead of time कि वो digest ही नहीं होते and they are bound to fail. So disruption at a rate and a pace which is digestible. So actually the Shiva energy of finding the right balance कि आपको कहाँ disrupt करना है और कहाँ innovate करना है. And brick and portal model, that's a new reality that we'll all be living in a phygital world now जिसमें थोड़ा सा physical होगा, थोड़ा सा digital होगा. And we'll have to make ways within that structure as well. Infra is now not a limitation anymore. We are defined by the online link and not by the geography, and AI should be a collaborator. This is something that is right now on top of all the discussions and all the discussion forums. Ki AI is typically intruding human decision making, and ऐसे point पे उसको friend बनाना is a new challenge. So we need to actually find how to make him that AI actually a friend, because अभी तो वो केवल competition बन रहा है और सबको एक threat लग रहा है. Seva projects for understanding interdependence of community. At this point, it's very well understood, and we are all realizing it at the moment. कि when nature wants, nothing else works. So when nothing else works, या तो we understand the interdependence, otherwise we should be prepared to suffer. So this is the point when हमें community service, community engagement, community reaction और community के साथ में engage करना सीखना होगा. And it should actually be a part of skilling. And a very nice thing that you said at the end, that we should never hurry and but stay ahead of time. But ये क्या करें? पूरी generation is typically fed and taught and working in a way where we are just in a big hurry. So thank you so much, Rajita ma'am, for adding the higher education, the skill, the Seva perspective to the discussion. Thank you so much.
Please don't miss the meditation and the mind management, which I said.
Yeah, absolutely. Self-management and daily group sadhanas. I missed that point. I'm sorry. But yes, this is what that brings the emotional intelligence online, and a human being gets together to take good decisions and move ahead. Education, the way we understand it and the way we have seen it. I should not use the term business, but just for the sake of understanding, I'm using this term. That if you look at it from the other perspective, within the Indian context, it is supposed to be the most highest regulated business in the whole country. It is regulated at every point, at the revenue level, at the legislation level, at the community level, and at every point it is deeply regulated. So when we talk of regulation, we want the policy makers to come in. We want to hear a perspective on how do they take their decision making and how do they think that policies should evolve. Because abhi tak, if you look at education, one of the bases of education policy making was infra availability. आपके पास कितना बड़ा प्लॉट है, कितनी बड़ी बिल्डिंग है, कितने बच्चे आप हाउस कर सकते हैं, इसके बेसिस पे बहुत सारे सर्टिफिकेशंस, बहुत सारी चीजें, बहुत सारे एफिलिएशंस होते थे. बट राइट नाउ इट्स अ न्यू चैलेंज इवन फॉर द पॉलिसी मेकर्स टू थिंक कि हाउ टू सर्टिफाई. आप क्रेडेंशियल्स कैसे तय करेंगे, आप ये समझेंगे कैसे कि who has to be and who should not be. So to add the policy perspective to it, we have a very special guest today. So a very warm welcome, Dr. Jawahar Surishetty, who's the advisor to Government of India. He's a TED speaker, smart city consultant, startup mentor, psychologist, best-selling author, speaking tree columnist from Raipur, Chhattisgarh. Dr. Jawahar ji, over to you. You can unmute your audio.
I envy the way the crisp points put up by the corporate leader with a beach behind him. I can't hear you. You can't hear me?
Now you're audible. Now you're audible.
Okay. So I'm saying रजिया फंस गए गुंडों में ऐसा लग रहा है मुझे, क्योंकि दोनों स्पीकर्स ने इतना अच्छा बोला है कि मुझे it has left a lot of things to be desired by me. So are you still able to hear me or not proper?
Sir, your voice is coming little garbled.
Just a minute. I'll put on my Wi-Fi. Okay. So now is it better? Is it?
Yes, slightly.
Yes, slightly better. The audio has gone. Jawahar ji, I think there's a technical glitch. This technology being a boon, ये थोड़ा सा bane है that tech infra इतना strong नहीं है.
नहीं है हमारे पास, गवर्नमेंट के पास नहीं है. Hello, am I audible now? Am I audible?
Yeah.
Audible now? Yeah. So tech infra is not very strong with the government. Okay. Can you open the video, please? Host has disabled the video, he says. Okay. So now am I audible?
Your voice,
Still better.
still better. You can start.
Yeah. Okay. So I am saying that the corporate leader with a beach behind and the fantastic lady with a university behind have made me feel as if Razia Phas Gayi Gundo mein. I have a very difficult task to do, but you are still not able to hear me? Better? No.
Yeah, we are able to hear you.
Okay. So the two things. One is that I am myself a product of the Eklavya type of thing, because I have not been to school. Very surprisingly, like Mr. Khanduja mentioned, I have learned my alphabet from movies. So very, very striking coincidence that he has mentioned this. And it is surprising, but my TED Talks say that I was selling idlis and suddenly I am here. So the first thing that I want to say is, because I do not have a background of schooling, I am able to disrupt the education where I am in. So that is the major, like Sir Cameron Robinson says, that schools kill creativity. My creativity stems from the fact that I have not been to a school. So what we are doing now is that, since in the situation of a pandemic, we do not have any option but tech. So I am saying that tech is teaching. So your headline is okay for the current moment, but yes, as Mr. Khanduja and Rajita have said, that it can supplement the teacher skills. But using tech, it does not just mean that I sit in front of the camera and teach to the children, then that 9-second thing might apply. But if the teacher is good enough, if the talent is there, and the children are interested, then what we have tried here, I'll just share my experiences. We tried EduTakshari. It's an innovation. And every day I teach 11,500 children cutting across the classes. I have been teaching for the past 60 days EduTakshari. I'll give you a small example how I've used technology and how we made it interesting. So the parents have also participated. Are you able to hear me now? Hello?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So EduTakshari is that we start a song. So I say any song, maybe Kyunki tum hi ho, zindagi tum hi ho. It stops with ha. Let's say any grade student can pick it up and say that, let's say Hyderabad. Hyderabad is the capital of Telangana. The chief minister is KSR, something like that. He can say that, he can give one line of that, he understands that word, and Hyderabad ends with D. So the another student picks up a song with D. And then it so goes on. EduTakshari is a mixture of music and education. So we've tried this digitally and it has helped a lot. So the size of the classroom itself tells you that 11,500 students logging into a class and playing with me for 2 hours every Sunday is a fantastic experience. So if you are able to really disrupt, अगर हम classroom में ये करने की कोशिश करें तो शायद teacher will say, अरे you are bringing Bollywood into the classrooms. Whereas the aim here is that when a student is in the is locked down at home, maybe he is depressed that he is not going out, he is not having the dose of entertainment, he is not going with his friends. So we've used the technology to disrupt the system of education and learning and knowledge. And I feel that anything that is providing you the requisite knowledge, or maybe you are trying to learn something,
is a good platform, whether it is Bollywood or anywhere. So what we have done again is 39% according to government sources say that the access to technology is zero with 39% of the people. They might be migrant laborers, they might be disadvantaged people, etc., etc. So for them, we use technology in a different way, although it is not the COVID situation. But in Jammu and Kashmir, when Pakistan was shelling, and that time schools had holes in the roofs, then I, along with UNICEF, had done one project for the government of India, and that was Gyan Dan, it was called. So we had Mahindra buses, we had Videocon, VCD players and TV, and then we used to go every 2 days to one district, take the children into the bus, start the audio visual, whatever technology was there at that time. This was 2000. And then we used to teach 20 children in one district. Again, 2 days, we used to go to the next district and teach. So even if there is a disadvantage and people don't have maybe mobile phones, other technologies can be used. So we are even trying to rope in from the government side movie halls which are closed, so that we can showcase some movies or some videos to the children if they sit into the movie halls, maintaining social distance, because it's a big space. So movie hall turns into a classroom. We are also looking at using at Doordarshan and radios, which have more penetration in rural areas, to reach out to these disadvantaged people. Having said that, a lot of teachers and parents come up and say that how good is online. So we are again coming up with a policy on online, because it is age specific. So if I ask a preschool child to sit in front of the laptop for 2 hours, maybe that learning is not going to happen. It is just that I am trying to do my duty and the child is trying to do his duty by sitting in front of the laptop. So we are trying to say that 1 hour for preschool children, 2 hours for primary, and 3 hours for people above that. But we have also some rules for that the preschool class should not exceed 20 minutes. There should be a 20-minute break and then the next 20 minutes. The primary class should have 30 minutes class with a 15-minute break, and the high school class can have 40 minutes with a 10-minute break. This is what the government is thinking, and it will come out in the next 15-20 days. So there is an online policy, which again, see, it's a confession that I am trying to make, that as technology, you have seen how I started and how the others started. For us, technology, we are the weak links in technology. The government is not very, except that the Narendra Modi government has done something in Startup India and Digital India, but otherwise, acceptance and usage of technology wise, I might be much a laggard than the other two panelists. But in terms of policy making, if I am not taking the teacher into consideration, I am just taking the children into consideration, it does not make sense too. Because the teachers these days are considered to be not better off than the children they are teaching. And if a mother has a problem with the mobile phone, she will go to her son to get it repaired or get it rectified. That is the way it is now. So, but the teachers, I think, as Rajita has said, have done a phenomenal job in a short time. Even with the handicap that they had with technology, they learned it fast. They learned it at least to the extent to deliver something to the students who are in a lockdown situation. So tech, as far as I am concerned, see, one example of this is that suppose if I am using Jawar Sir ki class, we do something. Now, Jawar Sir ki class is something that we do it for 6, 7, 8, 1 to 5 separately. This is different than EduTakshari. So in Jawar Sir ki class, what we do is we use the online platform, but we don't use it to lecture. What we do is I'll give an exercise to the family and say, get together, all 4 of you get together, instead of just sticking to your mobile phones, get together. And let's say he is in the 6th, 7th grade and he is learning Newton's laws of motions. So what I will do is, so I'll ask them to take 2 mobiles. The ball is thrown by the father. The child is batting with a plastic bat in the drawing room itself during a lockdown situation. and the throw and the impact on the bat are recorded by the mobile. Now the student, instead of saying s is equal to ut plus half 80 square, he is able to, the distance and the time are known now. So distance I have measured, time I have measured. So velocity and acceleration can be taught at home by the parents, who are the foster teachers in the absence of teachers in a lockdown. So technology does not mean that I am sitting just in front and lecturing. If the teacher knows how to make the class interesting, he can bring the family together. I have seen families enjoying with this game of cricket and Newton's law of motion. This is disruption. So I think it is a very novel thing that the pandemic is giving us, that the family is together. The family is together, and also we are forced to be together. We can't go out. So we have learned to live with ourselves. The option is that I again use technology to break the family. They used to say that earlier family used to be a circle. So we used to eat together, sit on the ground and eat. Then when the TV came, family became a semicircle. And now with the mobile, the family has become a reverse circle. So reverse circle is our backs are towards each other and our faces are towards the mobile. So that's a possibility of using technology and breaking a family. But we thought that it is better if we use technology to bring the family together. People are enjoying it. So it is up to us as educational leaders, as corporate leaders, to understand how to use technology to teach better, and how to see that the students are stuck to whatever time we decide. Maybe it's an hour, it's 20 minutes, that's up to us. But at least that interest that Mr. Khanduja has said, it's our duty to create. We can't say that the student is going out. Some practical problems that we have faced and teachers have complained to us is that in the frame where the students are sitting, one gentleman in his banyan and shorts is sleeping behind. So the teacher feels very unsafe or threatened or uncomfortable. So technology has also shown us that there is a behavioral aspect also in the frame where the child is sitting, and the parents will need to understand that they should be out of the frame whenever it is something objectionable, because that lady teacher who is teaching is doing a fantastic job. It is on us to see that we cooperate with her. So small things that technology has brought is that the teacher has reached your home. Till now the parents used to outsource education to the schools. Now the schools are not there. The parent is feeling the pinch that अरे teacher कितना काम करता होगा यार, घर में बैठ के बच्चा मुझे परेशान कर रहा है. This is the feeling that the parent will have after an extended lockdown. So now the teacher's importance is being understood, and outsourcing of education has now come back to home. And now if we are able to inculcate technology and a mix of technology and interest into teaching learning process, it is so. My lack of education in the schools has given me the power to disrupt, because I am not conditioned to be in the four walls of a classroom and think that this is the desk, this is the teacher, this is the blackboard. So I am able to disrupt. Now the government usually does not disrupt, except a few governments in India now which are currently working on this. But the disruption is usually not there. EdTech is a part of disruption, but I think that too much of EdTech is also taking away. See, there is however much, like Rajita has said, that however much of technology you use and make the things colorful for the children, there is a lack of emotion when you connect through technology. So the pat on the back that the teacher will give you in a classroom is anyway missing. I will be proud of that pat on the back. An emoji from a mobile phone might not be as motivating for you or me. So having said that, technology used in the right spirit to generate interest in students is the government's vision. Too much of technology, I think, is not going to be right for the child. Neither it is right for the teacher, neither it is right for the parents, because there are some things called life skills, emotional intelligence, and all those things which can be taught only personally. And last but not the least, I want to point out one disadvantage of technology. that today we are living in a world where teachers who used to say that don't bring mobiles to the school are now saying bring your mobile and learn from my class. So it's a volte-face by the teachers. Now, if that is the volte-face and children have got the power to use the mobile officially or the laptop officially, within 60 days, if you use for 2 hours daily, it becomes a habit. Your brain cells are create a design which becomes a habit. Now, if these neuronal connections become habits and the school reopens later, and even if you go to blended learning, the addiction to the mobile becomes a huge risk for the students, and you will have to wean them away from the mobile. So digital well-being is going to be one of the biggest requirements after the things open up. So we as parents, at least we should know that we should use some apps even now like Apprison to monitor the usage of the mobile. Even for ourselves, we are addicted to the mobiles. So how much we use can be measured by Apprison in Android and Forest in iOS. We should try such things for children also to ensure that their digital well-being is not hampered. It is going to be a huge pandemic. I think it will disturb the whole ecosystem. I see digital well-being clinics in future, specialization by doctors in digital well-being, etc., etc. So I close here. Let's look for the questions now. Thank you.
Thank you, Jawahar sir, for adding the policy perspective to it. If you look, we talked to 3 people in the last 20-30 minutes, and you can see 2 ends of the spectrum of employability, human engagement, and education. Jawahar ji brings the ideal part of it, the policy. Rajita ji brings the connecting part of it, and Harjeet ji brings the final execution or usability or the utility part of it. That a human being, when is trained for becoming a utilizable and not even utilizable, for a meaningful citizen, when he goes from what is thought to what is expected, iske beech ka gap bahut bada hai. And to actually bridge it is what we are trying to do within this call, that in 3 perspectives mein wo connecting dot ya wo connecting thread kaun sa hai jo usko shayad seamless bana de. To again summarize what Jawahar ji said, that he himself comes from the homeschooling portion of schooling, jahan unhone koi formal school attend nahi kiya hai, and which typically gives him the edge of understanding a school by not going to a school and evaluating the learning mode of it. A very innovative initiative that has already started, EduTakshari, which is a blend of music and education, simply put, education and Antakshari, teaching nearly 11,500 students every Sunday. 39% of the population does not have access to technology in India. He initiated something called Gyandan in Jammu and Kashmir while shelling was going on, and after shelling completed, jisme they took the school on a bus with support from a lot of people. Movie halls now to be used for for teaching the disadvantaged population. Age specific online teaching policies, which is something that is very critical, because wahin pe ab next level of guidance chahiye to all the education institution leaders. Screen time divided as per age. This is again something that's good to know. The government is a weak link in tech, that's for sure, but ye hai ki a regulation aap hi ne banana hai, so you'll have to find the right people and the right brains and the right ideas to blend in together. Policy has to make a teacher also a part of the policy making decisions. Pandemic has made the families come together, and a very nice statement that from a family circle to a semicircle to a reverse circle, building students' interest is a major responsibility of teacher. Abhi, just some days back, we had a very nice observation from one of the principals कि अगर आप याद करेंगे कि what was your favorite subject in your school, तो शायद आपको वो subject से ज़्यादा उस subject का teacher याद में आएगा, because the human behind it actually made you interested in it. And जैसा business end पे marketing में बोला जाता है that humans buy from humans, it's the same way that teaching happens for humans and through humans only. तो human factor बहुत important है, जो technology अभी beat कर देती है या emotion या humanness को बाहर निकाल देती है. Creating an environment for conducive learning, इस point पे वो environment is typically in a very big turmoil. The school model or the model of a school, the way we understood it, has been obliterated. The institution that will reopen needs a new definition, because 30% बच्चों के साथ with a lot of masks and gestures not working, we need a new definition for that institution again, because जो अभी है वो तो नहीं होगा. And most importantly, जो आपने एक बहुत अच्छी बात कही कि habit disrupt ना हो जाए. इतनी टेक्नोलॉजी यूज करके अगर सच में हैबिट डिसरप्ट हो गई पढ़ने की या ह्यूमन कनेक्शन की, then there is a next pandemic that's waiting, that's digital wellness. वो हम कैसे फाइट करेंगे, थ्रू बिजनेसेस और थ्रू टीचिंग, we'll have to understand that. And governments normally don't disrupt, but now with when we need 6 careers in a lifetime, I think governments also need to become disruptive, क्योंकि बहुत बड़े बड़े मेजर चेंजेस आपको सर्टिफिकेशन, एम्प्लॉयमेंट और उसके आगे पीछे की चीजों में चाहिए होंगे, because you'll have to make a lot of things, rebrand them. जैसे हरजीत जी ने कहा कि डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन को भी आपको उतनी इज्जत देनी पड़ेगी, स्टिग्मा खत्म करना पड़ेगा. एंड द वे वी आर विजुअलाइजिंग इंस्टीट्यूशंस, या हम जैसे एक न्यू नॉर्मल की वेट कर रहे हैं या एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं कि शायद ये सब नॉर्मलाइज हो जाएगा, इज समथिंग दैट इज चैलेंजिंग एट द मोमेंट, बिकॉज ये रिज्यूम होगा कि नहीं, वी डोंट नो. सो नाउ इट्स टाइम फॉर सम क्वेश्चंस दैट वी हैव रिसीव्ड. One of the questions is, when typical career lines or typical professions have got disrupted, a lot of jobs being lost, should we actually go back to a family line of business, और जो फैमिली का नॉलेज बैंक है उसको यूटिलाइज करते हुए अपना एक प्रोफेशन बनाना? What do you think, should it be the next new normal? Yeah, what do you think are aspects to it? Anybody can answer. Rajita ji, Harjeet ji, anybody wants to take it?
So what I think is that it's not necessary to go back to the family line of business. The new way to think is, it's a small exercise that we should be doing in our homes, instead of just following the everybody is going to quota or everybody is becoming an engineer, etc., etc. I give a small exercise, let's say, to all the teachers. They can do it in the classrooms. The first thing is that visualize a society which is 6-7 years from now. Now, if I visualize a society which is 6-7 years from now, maybe I'll find out some parallels. One is that women will be more into professional jobs. So if that is the case, then I am looking at careers. Let's look at careers. So if a woman goes out, and usually हम लोग घर में pink, blue color के walls होते हैं, but when she goes to the office and sees that there is a plaster of Paris, concealed lighting, then facade here, there, interior. So interior becomes a good option. The second is the lady sitting next is into a fitness. I have to go to the gym. I have to do this makeup. So health and beauty becomes a big option. So if you think about a society maybe 7 years from now, you will be able to visualize careers instead of just going back to the family business.
I think Harjeet ji wanted to say something.
Yeah.
Look, the new method of doing family business, if I look at the whole thing, is, one is, we have been taught how to do service or take up a job. Another thing is, this is the age of startups. When you talk about startups, you are identifying a need in the society and you start working on it with the help of your friends. Now, if you call that family, yeah, this is the time for family businesses. So get into solving problems. That is the most important thing which is going to work. I'm not for traditional family businesses, but a new set of family businesses need to start.
Absolutely, new set of businesses to start. थोड़ा सा entrepreneurship has to be promoted, and उस entrepreneurship के लिए risk taking actually हमारे curriculum का part नहीं है, वो out of course हो या out of syllabus हो जाता है when we talk of our classrooms and our curriculums. Rajita ma'am wants to say something, I think.
अभी guarantee है क्या?
The point is here, Daksh, again, we should think of what is the idea that whose time has come, or what is that idea which will add value to the life of human beings. That idea will always become a successful business, whether it's your own, whether it's your family's, whether it's a business that you are becoming part of. So I think our mindset has to not be fixed on the mode of doing business, but what is the business that we are doing? In our university, we are known as a university of startups. In the last just 3 years, we have almost 35 to 37 startups being incubated in our university, and all of them are successfully running. Now, did they do it because they wanted to not join the family business or join it or do something similar? No, I think they did it because they found an idea which they thought was valuable. Like one of my students, I'm so proud, she and, you know, two of our students have started India's first Moringa tea. Now, when you hear about it, you think, "Arey, ye to hona chahiye tha, abhi tak nahi tha." But apparently not. So they found an idea where they found a niche, and today they are the only, you know, they are selling this organic, a special type of medicinal moringa tea. So I think people should focus on ideas and not vehicles of of implementing those ideas.
When we look at technology right now and the way it's being used across education institutions, एक बहुत major challenge which we are realizing at the moment is the curriculum or the kind of content we are teaching. उसमें major revamp चाहिए. So what do you think as an HR, as a university leader and as a policy maker कि सबसे पहला या सबसे basic change क्या होगा that will bring into the system? Because one thing that we know is kindergarten's mode of teaching is better than a college's mode of teaching sometimes. So what is your opinion on that? Harjeet ji, first, your end of the story, because you're finally going to consume that talent.
Look, when my son was giving exam for 12th class, so what I did was I started teaching him. And I started studying the whole thing again. When I was doing that, first time in my life, I understood what is Rutherford model. And then I understood why Rutherford came with a model and what was the requirement for Bohr to come with a model which was better than Rutherford's model. I was able to appreciate that because somebody on YouTube made such videos that I was able to understand that whole piece. Otherwise, I was not able to appreciate the whole teaching which I did in my childhood. It might not be teacher's fault. It might be that I was overwhelmed at that point in time. But finally, I was able to understand that whole piece.
Absolutely. So you think application एक बहुत important part होना चाहिए of education ताकि बच्चा actually appreciate ये कर पाए कि आप जो पढ़ रहे हो इसकी final utility क्या है? Yeah, how would you actually use it in your real life?
Look, frankly speaking, when somebody comes to corporate itself doesn't know what will this guy do, because environment is changing, so your business is changing. What corporate looks for is when you are, say, taking a pot shots on education system is not good or curriculum is not good, just see how much effort goes into determining how our culture will flow. So you just can't say that the whole curriculum is out of focus. Our society is changing very fast. Thing is, education system is catching up. Now, it is about at what pace. It is a question of pace. It has nothing to do with that the people who are working on education system don't understand this. You, like Rajita ji was talking about, we talk to different leaders in the companies. Ask her, does she get a straight answer? This is the skill set I need. When you talk about tech skills change every 6 months. So you can't teach tech skills. The skills on the basis of which you hire and the skills on the basis of which you succeed are totally different. I was talking to a Uber driver. He had a rating of 4.9 star out of 5. So I asked him, how did you manage that? He had 5,000 rides. Out of 5,000 rides, rating of 4.9 star was huge. So he said, on the very first day, I understood this is not a driving job. Because people rate me not on driving, they rate me on conversation. They rate me on how I'm keeping my cab clean. So he got that job based on driving license. But he is getting 4.9 star based on something which is totally driving. Do you rate drivers on driving? No. So whatever colleges are teaching, I will again come to the same point. whether the person can do the job, whether the person can learn to do that job. My teacher at IIT, when I was passing out, he told me, you know what I have taught you for 4 years? And we were like, yeah, you taught us engineering drawing, you taught us this. He said, no, what I have taught you is how to learn. So that was the thing which changed my mindset, that it is how to learn which is the most important thing and which will keep you going. That is what our education system, and I believe education system is doing justice to whatever we are doing. If you go into little bit of depth, you will understand that our education system is doing a good job. Otherwise, we would not have been the masters of IT in the entire world.
Absolutely. Just some days back, a very nice analogy was given by one of the principals that technology education का वो बच्चा है जो अब बड़ा हो गया है और उसने अब education की पूरी जिम्मेदारी ले ली है. So, but even at this point, since we are expecting a lot of improvement to come in, क्योंकि अब education में एक जो challenge बार-बार होता है, when innovation happens, तो policy end से बहुत बार resistance होती है. और उस fight के अंदर बहुत बार content या जो हम actually चाह रहे होते हैं, वो कभी-कभार lose हो जाता है. So to understand that perspective, that how does higher education find school policies and their policies, या वो क्या चाहते हैं अब, a small vision on the kind of support or the kind of policy that you'll want in the coming time. So Rajita ma'am.
You know, as I was saying, Daksha, firstly, Harjeet, thank you for sharing that Uber driver example. With your permission, I'm going to use this story many times because you drove the point home, which was also something I was saying, that what we learn are foundational, professional, fundamental knowledge. You know, we learn knowledge or we become domain experts in our, in the bachelor's or master's degrees we get. But that domain expertise only gets you through the door. But what makes you succeed after that is something totally different, which you probably nobody has taught you as part of a curriculum. So very, very brilliantly said. And, I think that is what Daksh is today for conscientious educators. What is the challenge? Today, I am Shri Shri University. I'm 7 years old. I'm 7 years old. I'm not in the education system. I'm not even yet born. If I compare to the stalwarts of education who are 200 years old or 300 years old. So I'm not even born, but I am competing with a 300-year-old because the student is choosing, we are apple to apple. So I think in India, in general, the central and state government universities have the advantage of really a lot of unlimited coffers. They have a lot of funding that comes to them from state or central governments, whereas private universities like us are, I have to depend on our own sources of capital to do everything disruptive, everything innovative that we want to do. So somewhere we have to create some level playing fields. Those answers are not black and white. They have to be discussed and deliberated. But I think, there are many players like us now who are coming into the education field, who have really disruptive ideas and who have the nimbleness, who have the agility to do it. See, we went online in 4 days. We didn't sleep, we didn't eat, we didn't do anything till we did it. And we did it. Do we have challenges? Hundreds of challenges. But did we do it? Yes, we did it. Now, this nimbleness, probably one of the most established universities in India is unable to express with this nimbleness because of the same reason, because of its antecedent, because of its size. Now, but that university is probably maybe rated higher than me because of its, vintage, etc. So that is a bit of a challenge. Recently, Harjeet, one of the education online learning companies approached me and said that we want to work with you on this and this, but how can we do it? And they said, we want to work with the top 100 universities of NIRF. I said, well, we are not yet, because the kind of research it needs, we are not yet. In 7 years, there's only so much research you can do. You cannot compete with a 300-year-old institution for research. So I said, we are not top 100 NIRF. So they called me back later, Daksh, and they said, the kind of agility, the kind of wanting to do, the kind of ability to move ahead we found with your team, we are not finding with this. So it's a paradox, you know, it's a paradox. So somewhere there, I think, and especially the pandemic has shown us that, you know, the agile will survive, the most adaptable will survive. Our students and the parents, you know, on Sunday we had a big town hall. Some parents are literally weeping because that, you know, that release of anxiety that my sons or my daughters 1 year may have got lost if we would have not started this online classes, because on 1st of July we started our academic year 2020-21 online. So this is the paradox I'm finding, Daksh, in many cases, you know. And that is somewhere, you know, we are also speaking a lot with the regulators. I think the pandemic has made everyone more open, made everyone more considerate to different sort of, you know, need for different norms. So I hope that some of those, you know, become a reality for us.
Absolutely. So before on this, I would typically want to take from Jawahar ji that government की and policy makers की empathy तो बहुत बढ़ गई है, and they're actually open ears to listen to at you know, at every level, because बहुत सारे education में हर जगह regulation है, तो हर जगह बहुत सारा interference policy की तरफ से होता है. So they're ready to listen. What do you think that what focus groups or what kind of content you would need from practitioners? कि आप school leaders चाहेंगे, आप teachers से सुनना चाहेंगे, आप बच्चों से सुनना चाहेंगे, और how would you actually formulate it into a policy कि इनके feedback को जगह मिल जाए?
नहीं, ये बात सही है. It's a fact that it's not a level paying ground. I concede that. But having said that, the picture that we see from the government side is not something that an individual private university or somebody would see, because 70% of children study in government schools and colleges. So I will also have to cater to them. So having said that, I don't want to get into this public and private thing. It is a very sympathetic decision that we take, and there is no, we don't want to get into that. But having said that, I am saying that learning for future will need something from a psychologist's perspective, not from the government's perspective. It is that it needs a continuum, and that continuum is that 8 hours in school or college, 8 hours at home, and 8 hours for the child himself when he sleeps. This is the continuum of education that is required, not just the school or college. So Rajita ji, with the residential university format, she has 16 hours to herself, so that she can cater to the child and his knowledge better. So what we should do is that parents should become more responsible and not just outsource it to educational institutions and say कि teacher ही जो भी करेगा करेगा, गाली दे रहा है तो भी teacher जिम्मेदार है. Whereas the 8 hours that they have at home, if they are not responsible, the learning is not going to be completed. The third thing is, with the digital revolution, the night 8 hours that the child is supposed to sleep, he is into these devices most of the time, and the morning college or school timing is fixed. So his sleep deprivation is something that will disrupt the next day's concentration of the child in school. So all these 8 hours, if there is a continuum, all three of us are responsible: homes, institutions, as well as the child himself. So this is all that I need to say.
Thank you so much, Jawahar. So the ecosystem has to come together, and I think the pandemic has actually done that. That the ecosystem has finally come together. The schools or the education institutions have become absolutely transparent, because parent हर class में बैठा है, वो teacher के हर move को evaluate कर रहा है, and उस point पे school के लिए CRM में काम हो गया करने का कि अब मुझे customer relationship management भी करना है, because otherwise running a school is a big challenge now.
You have said it so well. So all teachers, school teachers, you know, our faculty members are saying we are not just teaching the students anymore. We are teaching the grandmom who might be lying on the sofa next to the child, or the mom who is overlooking from the kitchen, or even the dad for that matter. So our classrooms have become now exponential. I mean, they have exploded in size. So we are saying we don't have 3,000 students, but multiplied by 4, because the whole family is now studying. I think that's the nature of the game right now.
गुरु का रोल पहले समाज को पढ़ाना होता था, फिर वो धीरे धीरे शॉर्ट आउट ऑफ स्टूडेंट पे आ गया, वो शायद वापस उसी पे चला गया कि हर टीचर को चाणक्य होना पड़ेगा. एक्चुअली आपकी गोद में खेल रहे होंगे और आप हर दिन उसे देख रहे होंगे.
Yeah.
Complete family is there within the arena when they are listening to you. There are actually a lot of questions that people want to ask, but we are actually over time. We have finished the time, and I think most of the people have enjoyed the discussion. And thank you very much, all the guests who took out time being here with Love World on the 67th episode. Thank you so much, Harjeet. Thank you so much, Rajita ji. Thank you so much, Dr. Jawahar Surisetti. आप लोगों ने एजुकेशन के पूरे वैल्यू चेन को बहुत अच्छे से, बहुत वेरी इजीली से, कि बहुत सिंपैथी और बहुत प्यार के साथ आपने उसको बताया. बिकॉज इतनी सारी टॉक्स में हमने बहुत सारी लड़ाइयां ही देखी हैं. People are not at all sympathetic towards what is going on right now. But what I can see, सबकी empathy बढ़ रही है. We are all right now ready to listen. And I think ये चीज as a society, if it remains with us, will grow at a pace at which nothing else can grow. And I think इसको preserve करने की हमें कोशिश करनी चाहिए हर एक जने को at every level, that we do not lose this empathy towards each other. I hope you enjoyed the last 20-30 minutes. Thank you so much for participating in the Love World Web Talk 67th episode. If you enjoyed, if you want to attend the future sessions, you can open your audio, say a big yes. And thank you so much, people, for being a part of the Love World Web Talks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daksh. Thank you, Rajita ji. Thank you, Jawahar ji. And thank you, all of you.
Thanks to all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.